You know this world has gone insane. It is absolutely no secret. But tonight, Saturday night, you are about to experience the true measures of what that insanity can bring you. Tonight, you are about to see Bald and Bonkers, the one-of-a-kind show that sells deep into the world with no holds barred. Now, meet your hosts, Dakota Frandsen, specialist of the strange, and Crystal Moule, the UFO fanatic. Now, give it up, and let's see what these two idiots can bring you.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday night. We're back, and it's been so quick, it's just flew in. We are joined tonight by my lovely special co-host next to me. See, Dakota, you think that's niceness of those guys? And we're also joined by, is it Tyron?
Taryn.
But like I said, you can call me T. It's okay.
T. I'll call you T then, because it makes
T is easy, right?
I know, I'm terrible, everybody. I apologise. I'll call you T. And it's Paranormal Brew, so we'll start chatting a little while about some stuff, guys, but we're just going to let the chat fill up a wee bit. But I noticed it's acting kind of weird, Dakota. Do you notice that? The kind of, the chat is acting weird.
Yeah, it's the cyber warfare going on with the whole Russia-Ukraine situation. There's people getting cornered on TikTok, of all places, just because they spoke out against Putin.
Yeah.
They got broadcast so many places.
Yeah, because seemingly YouTube is getting attacked because they've removed the, the propaganda, basically, from Putin. So we'll just need to see what happens. So, guys, we're going to interview Paranormal Brew tonight. We'll call you T, because I'm terrible at pronouncing names.
Yeah, you can say T. Yep.
T, no problem. So we'll give it a couple of minutes and we'll let it fill up. We've got one there watching there, and we've got 5, I think, in Facebook, have we not? We've got 5 in Facebook.
Well, what's say in the thing? So I think all social media platforms are getting hit right now.
Yeah, they are. They're getting bombarded, because there's actually a big channel. I'll not mention it. I was watching it last night, and they've got something like 500,000 subscribers, and they had 2 people in the chat.
Wow.
Yeah. Because it was just
I think it's probably not wanting people to talk about anything. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much going on cyber-wise with cyber attacks, and then people counter cyber attacking and trying to block things, and you don't know what it's going to affect.
Yeah. It's madness. The world has went, man, guys. Listen, I would also like to say to the podcasters out there, we are running is it Save the Children thing, Dakota?
Yeah, we are. The link will be in the description, so you can be able to donate to our Save the Children page to try to help the people affected by the Ukraine crisis. Because let's face it, this thing's not going to end anytime soon.
No, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better, to be purely honest with you. So this is getting uploaded to obviously all the networks we'll tell you about, so you'll be able to go back and listen to this. You'll be there forever. So T. Paranormal Brew.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I'm sorry, I'm just sharing to all my pages. I apologize. I'm not being rude.
It's fine.
I want to share.
We're trying to get some more people in here.
That's what I did. Yeah.
I'm just sharing. All right, so now let me get back in. So I'm here. So I actually I got into the paranormal probably shortly after my first visit to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, in the United States, which is around about 2007. I think I was I guess what I would consider myself, knowing what I know now, I guess an enthusiast at that time.
Yeah.
However, I was afraid of it. I was interested, but I did not want to go there. So I was watching TV, and I was, reading books and, all that, this and that. And then I joined a group, and that was like 3 months of training, and that was intense training. I mean, we trained on everything, cemetery cleanups, as far as like, the learning like what types of stone require what types of material to be able to clean them safely without ruining them, all kinds of stuff. And then preternatural training, and that's when I decided I want nothing to do with anything remotely close to anything negative case-wise whatsoever. I said I want Casper only. You guys can deal with everything else. That's it.
Casper the friendly ghost, Oh my God.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I actually, have you ever experienced anything negative?
Negative, meaning, I had so I believe in some dreams, and then some, I know that some are, whatever, just a dream. But I did have a dream one time, and this is crazy for me to talk about this, but I'm just going to talk about it.
That's why we're called bonkers.
I don't bring it up often. I think I've only said it on maybe one or two other shows. But I did have a dream one night that I was in a house with a woman, 2 children, and I was protecting them from a demon. And I say demon because in my dream that's what it looked like to me. Nice. And I saw this thing. I knew its name, and I was protecting these, and I fought this thing off, and it left. However, in my dream, I was like, oh, I know it's going to the next house. So I told them, I'm like, you guys will be okay. I'll check on you in a week. I have to go on. Like, I was like this demon vigilante in my dream or something, right? I'm like following this thing. Never made it in my dream, never made it to the second house, but I'm going to tell you this dream was, and I'm making light of it. However, it was intense. It was so intense. The feelings that I had during the dream, the feelings I had when I woke up, it was crazy the way it affected me for the next week. To the point where even when I was walking to the bathroom, every single muscle in my body hurt. Like even when I was walking and like my boobs were bouncing, like my chest muscles up here, everything hurt as if and I hadn't worked out in a long time, like at that point. Yeah. So it was almost like I went to the gym for 7 hours and nonstop weight trained. And I was that bad for about 4 or 5 days. So to me, that's the closest thing that's ever kind of, there was a thin line there.
It makes you wonder if it's something that you might experience in the future.
I hope not.
What do you think, Dakota?
I hope not.
I think she's one of the lucky ones, all things considered, if that's all she had.
Yeah.
It was scary. Trust me. It was very scary. The only thing with that is because some of my dreams, like I've had dreams where I've dreamt of what could be interpreted as natural disasters. So real live ones. So like I had a dream where I was in this glass house in the middle of the ocean. It was nighttime. There was about 15 people inside this house with me, and it was just one big square. So the furniture was like all in the middle of this square glass house. And I kept telling them there's a big wave coming. We have to get cover. We have to try to get out of here. But there was no land anywhere in sight. So I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like telling them we have to prepare for this huge wave. It's coming. It's going to take us out. We got to figure out what to do. And like 3 seconds later, all of a sudden here comes this. I mean, the wave was humongous. And it took it out, and I woke up. Well, 3 days later, that huge tsunami happened.
Really?
Yeah. Long dream short, I had a dream that I was at my old work, and my boss was putting golf ball pins. You know, he walked around the yard outside, was putting golf, and he made like a square, and then he goes step back, and all of a sudden the where he put the pins, all the earth just started to like slide down and like move, whatever. 3 days later, that huge mudslide in California happened. So it's like these little things happen. I had a dream that the town I live in Mount Ephraim, and anybody can Google it. First of all, New Jersey isn't one to have a lot of natural disasters, you know, and we don't have a lot of tornadoes. We don't have a lot of, you know, we do have, the storm stuff, but not too much tsunamis and earthquakes and stuff like that. And the town I live in, probably a handful of times, a tornado has actually touched down in this town. And I had a dream that I was looking out my brother's back window, and I saw a tornado touch down, and I woke up. You know, there's other stuff that happened. However, a week later, there's a tornado touching down in the town that I'm living in. So it's like things like that. So that's the only reason why with that dream I had the same intensity as like all these other dreams that I've had that kind of.
It makes you wonder if how can I put this? Do you have any like psychic abilities? You see when you go hunting, do you pick up on the entities at all? I
can be clairaudient, so I hear disembodied voices that actually gets picked up on the recorder. So because I record, I don't do burst sessions or anything like that when I do EVPs. I record the entire time. So there's not anything not caught on my recorder, no matter what's going on.
That's fascinating. What do you think of that, Dakota? What's your opinion there?
It does seem like she does have some sort of disposition to psychic ability that maybe just waiting for its wake-up call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll say, like, if I hear, like, what are you doing? And I say, I just heard, what are you doing? Did somebody say that? No. But then you listen back on the recorder, you hear the EVP, you hear me say I heard it, and you hear everybody say, you know what I mean? So that will get picked up. Now, that's not 100% of the time, but it'll happen maybe once or twice at a location that I'm at, but not constant,
Yeah.
If I allow myself to really take in the place, I can say skeptically, I have been able to pick up on certain people that may have been in that location at one point in time, and it's been confirmed that, and me not knowing any, like, you not hear me?
No, it's not that. It's just I heard the man's voice.
Something's coming through.
I'm not hearing a man's voice.
Did you not hear that?
I was actually hearing static coming through too. That is so crazy. I don't know if anybody in the chat or anybody in the podcast could listen back to this. What time is this about? What about? I would say 12:40 it happened, I would say. And we're 13:30 the now, so that is so weird because it was just when just as you were finishing that there.
Really?
It was the voice. I heard it, and it was a kind of guttural voice. That's so strange, that.
Oh wow! I'll have to listen back because I can't hear it.
We've got the headphones on. It's maybe because
that's why I said bust out the good headphones because I was hearing things.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody in the chat or anybody in Facebook heard that because I heard it at the start of the night, but I thought it was just somebody maybe in another room. But
I'm downstairs, so nobody's around me.
That is so strange.
Yeah.
That is so strange. Can I ask you, what's the best piece of evidence you've ever captured?
The picture of the apparition of a soldier on the railroad cut in Gettysburg.
Right.
Ooh. It's a full-bodied apparition. You can tell it's well, I don't want to say you can tell because there's skeptics out there that will argue it, and that's fine. So I'm just going to say what is believed to be the apparition of a Confederate soldier on the railroad cut in Gettysburg. It looks like, in my opinion, I do believe that's what it is. And I only did that after I had the photo analyzed by two separate people that do that. One would be the International Museum of Spirit Investigations. They're no longer open, but they were. And Mark Nesbitt, who he's at Gettysburg, but he's a historian, and who he would be like a really good guest for you guys to have on. But he's a historian, and he's also he's an author. He writes books called Ghosts of Gettysburg. Yes. And he's got it all. He's a historian. He's a skeptic. He's a paranormal investigator. So anyways, he looked at it as well. Once they got back to me, and in their opinion, 99.99999, almost 100% sure it's an apparition. Then that's when I said, okay, I feel comfortable putting this out there. So that's what it looks like. I mean, it's the coolest thing that I think I've ever captured, and it is the only apparition photo that I have since 2009 I've been investigating.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you've got lots to investigate. You were telling us before we came live tonight, you've got lots of interesting places to go. You never know what you're going to capture. You never know what you're going to see. Dakota, would you like to ask some questions?
Sorry, I was just thought I heard more voices trying to come through there, so I lost my train of thought. And if it is what I think it is, I better not say it because we're doing a special for it tomorrow. But out of the locations, what you were telling us before the break, what one are you looking forward to the most?
I want to say, I don't know, because they're all awesome. I mean, probably Kreischer Mansion, only because I'm not Kreischer Mansion. I already did Kreischer Mansion. We're doing Strauss Mansion. I apologize. Strauss Mansion. Strauss Mansion, only because I'm a part of a group called Paranormal Peaches, and it's 8 women of us, and we're like best friends, but we also investigate together, we party together, we do everything together. So it's going to be with them, and they're my most favorite people in the world. So I love getting together with them and investigating and hanging out. So that's the one I'm looking forward to as far as doing the investigations. But, definitely looking. I'm not looking forward to Hinsdale because although it is with my peaches again, I've heard a lot of not good things about Hinsdale. So I don't know why my friends would want me to go there.
What kind of things happen? What kind of things happen at that place?
I just heard. I have never been there, so I'm not sure. But everybody that has been there that I know really leaves there with not a great experience. Like, and they say the outside is worse than the inside. So I'm not quite sure what. If you remember in the beginning where I said I like Casper.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why my best friends are trying to get me to go there, but or forcing me to go there, should I say? Yeah. Because they said if I don't, they're going to kidnap me.
I mean, eventually you are going to run into a negative spirit. It doesn't matter where you go; you're going to run into a negative one. Yeah. But I suppose if you just
negative, I can deal with somebody with a forgive my French, but I can deal with an asshole spirit. You know what I mean? If it's like, just somebody that's like, not nice. And they're just being, I can deal with that. I don't want to take it to the level where they were never of this earth and they're being, that's what I'm talking about. I don't want anything on that side of it. I can deal with, I'm a tough chick. I have 6 brothers. My dad was a cop, so.
All right,
I got stuff to do.
Where do you see your channel going in the next couple of years? Where do you see it going?
I'm not sure. I mean, I have, I'm on, I'm working with Brian with Parapost. So I'm there. Also I own part of BB3 TV, which is another streaming network. And Paranormal Brew is my baby though. So, that is what I take care of first. It's first on my list as always. And I have been in talks with somebody to do a coffee for Paranormal Brew. I know. It's weird to me because I'm like, who's going to buy Paranormal Brew coffee? But I guess
it's perfect. Everybody's sleep deprived in this field. It's perfect.
We're actually sponsored by. Would you go?
No, I was about to say we're actually sponsored by an energy drink company. So
yeah. I mean, we need it. Coffee is like importante in this field, you know. So, also, SRS Paranormal. I've been in the talks with them. Like I said, we're doing like a documentary out there in Indiana at Randolph County. But again, that's all Paranormal Brew. It's not me, you know. Like it's. I just want it to be to a point where I want everybody to just like to watch my show. You don't have to watch it all the time, but I would like and for people to learn stuff about. If it just takes one person watching and they learn something, then other than the fake stuff they see on TV, minusing ghost hunters because I love ghost hunters. I think they're awesome.
Me and Dakota and a lot of other people talk about this quite regular. I mean, you'll get a lot of channels out there with like millions of subscribers, thousands and thousands of subscribers, but they fake everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then when you get the real channels like yours, T, and you get the real channels like Dakota's and other people that we know that actually do really good ghost investigations.
Right.
I mean, they don't get many subscribers, and it's people that fake it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's getting all the acknowledgement. I mean, you just need to look at the channels that are out there, but it'll happen one day. I mean, it's taken us a long time to get to 1,000 subscribers. You know,
yeah, it does. YouTube is tough. And I also heard that YouTube will go in, and if somebody doesn't watch your channel or check on it or whatever, they just remove a subscriber.
Yep.
You know?
What they do is if they've not hit your bell in your channel, that's no count. Even if they're subscribed, it's not counted as a subscriber, so you lose it.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy what they do. I don't know. I'm not good. I'm not good with like all that stuff. So I did have a Twitch, but I couldn't figure out how to use it. So I deleted it.
Dakota's the Twitch. You use Twitch, didn't you? There, Dakota.
Yeah, I heard afterwards. After I deleted it, I heard you have to actually like download or say like select something to say download your live videos, or else it's just like a live recording and then it goes away. But that's what I was doing. I was like going live and I'm going back. I'm like, where the heck are my videos? And they're not there. So I was like, screw this, delete, you know, and then,
I better go check something.
And then, go ahead.
I was just going to say hello to the people in the chat really quickly who we all got in there.
Oh, yeah.
We've got half paranormal.
Hi, from Paranormal. I know them. They're
Parapost Network. We know who that is. Brian. Oh, Brian. Where else we go? Phoenix. And I think that's that. Who's that? The
Knowledge Within.
The Knowledge Within. Hey, Lewis. You know?
They're sending you unsolicited pictures again. There you go.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Mark.
Hey there. So, what's your next investigation? The next one coming up? The first one you're going to?
I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this 100%, but it might be White Hill Mansion, but I'm not 100% sure. If that doesn't happen, then it's Strauss Mansion. That's April 23rd.
Yep. Would you like to answer?
Yes. So, going back to Paranormal Brew, what was the inspiration for you to start it up?
The show's on TV. Well, it first started, and it's really bad. So I'm just going to say disclaimer. Anybody that has the want to, which I don't know why you would, but to go back and see like 2017 Paranormal Brew episodes. Because at first it was just on radio stuff and like internet stuff. And then I discovered Facebook. So that's what I'm talking about. Like our first Facebook Live, which was like 2017 17 or 18. It's horrible. It's horrible. No idea what I was doing. But we decided to do it because we would have some of the best conversations just hanging out. And I'm like, we should be recording this and people should be listening to this because all people know is was on Ghost Adventures at that point, you know? And in my opinion, that's not right, you know, and there's maybe a 13-year-old watching it and thinking, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go run around the cemetery and say, throw things at me and, you know, destroy and lay on stuff that I'm not supposed to lay on. And, you know, I didn't want that. So we just decided to do that. And then it kind of geared more towards getting, people educated. So the guests I was getting on, because at first we really didn't have guests. We were just like talking. Yeah. And I started getting guests on. And and the guests that I would get on would be to show people that we're, you know, paranormal's, you know, we're not gimmicky. Because by that point we started to get this like made fun of type of a, you know, I always say my boyfriend's not into it. He looks at it like, or a Harry Potter club. Or something.
Oh, you know? Wow.
Like, not knowing, like, doesn't realize how serious it is, you know, or how, you know, I don't know what to say, but, so that's why I did it. And then the more and more I went, the more guests I was getting on, and,
there you go. You've just gained yourself a new subscriber. Phoenix has just subscribed to you.
Oh, thank you, Phoenix. Thank you.
There you go. So, can I ask you a question? Do you believe in UFOs? Have you ever done any UFO stuff?
I've never done UFO stuff. I have had UFO people on my show, guests on my show.
Yes.
Peter Robbins was one. I also had Justin Bamforth, who is not necessarily aliens, I would say, but more Men in Blackish, extraterrestrials, you know, stuff like that. I believe that there are other life forms out there. Do I think they're little green men with big black eyes? No.
That's been used a lot. Let's face it. That's been used. They don't look like that. No way of them.
Not all of them, but...
Do I think they care what's going on here? Nope.
No.
Nope.
Yeah. You know.
I mean, they might be curious how we're curious of the spirit world. Maybe the UFOs are the spirit world. Maybe that's what it's another dimension. Who knows?
Well, that's what they say. That's what they say. The afterlife as a different dimension.
Yeah.
As a different dimension. I mean, what's your feelings in the afterlife, T? What is your feelings? What do you think happens when it's your time?
Honestly, I think that I hope you get to hang out with people that, you know, your loved ones, you know, that you hope either you get to see them or whatever. However, I always say that my heaven, if you will, quote unquote, if you want, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to be at the Eisenhower farmhouse in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, my spirit, and I'm going to be haunting the F out of that. I'm going to be living there. And anybody that comes, I said it is the perfect place. It's gorgeous. It's in Gettysburg. It's open to tourists, so you have visitors every single day. You wouldn't be bored. Yeah. And you can have fun and mess with people, you know, and it's fully furnished.
I can see a point.
Fully furnished, has animals. People clean up after your house. People do the yard work. I'm just going to be sitting back chilling. Drinking my Paranormal Brew.
That's what I was going to ask you. How did you come up with that name?
Paranormal Brew?
Yeah.
We were trying to think of something that kind of, because when we were together, we were either drinking beer or we were drinking coffee.
Right.
So we just it kind of stemmed from there. And then the guy that started it with me actually was the one that came up with the Paranormal Brew part, you know, and put it together. So I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. It is catchy. I must admit it is very, very, very catchy. So who would you like to, what famous individual in the ghost hunting would you like to interview on your channel? What would be the number one there?
honestly.
Yeah.
See, it's hard because I would want to have Zach Baggins on only because.
A handsome man.
No.
Oh God.
No. He can keep his medium. He can keep his medium shirts and that stuff. I think he's, ridiculous. However, I would want to have him on only because I'd want to know things because I'm a very honest person and open, and I'll ask whatever and I'll tell him whatever. But I would want it would be one of those intense interviews that neither of us are happy.
Yeah.
I would invite my good friend Kenny Biddle on the show, so that my friend Kenny Biddle, who Zach Baggins has blocked on all accounts, to come on because, Kenny would like to. I would like that to happen. That whole both of them knowing, and they come on a show together, and it's my show, and I'm just sitting there like ding ding ding. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go on.
I would like to see that. I would pay to see that, because I think that would be one awesome show. I mean, I know I will admit this to the subscribers here. I used to watch Ghost Adventures all the time. I thought it was great, right? And then it started to veer off slightly. Every house he went to was possessed by a demon.
Every time.
And every time. That's not what it's like in real life. I don't think every location has got a demonic entity living in it. You know?
It's rare.
And
very rare.
Yeah. Dakota?
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Dakota.
I was going to say, and that brings me to the reason why I now do what I do. My episode with Jason Hawes, because a lot of people look up to Jason Hawes, and so for him to come on and we spoke about demons, we spoke about that, and he said, in my 30 years of doing this, you know what I mean? He's like, it's so rare. And I'm like, thank you so much for saying that, because you have poor families that think that just because something has a little bit much too energy for their energy, they think it wants to kill them or push them down the steps, or they threw a glass at my head and thank God I bent over. I'm thinking, I tell them all the time, if there is something that you can't see and it wants to hurt you, it's going to be successful.
Oh yeah.
No matter how you look at it. I mean, you can't see it. So if it really wanted to hurt you, it would.
See, I've actually I know some people that they're totally into Zach Baggins. They're into the Ghost Adventures. They think it's the best. They think it's 100% real. And they actually go at night to haunted locations looking specifically for darker entities.
Yeah.
And they've not been successful. I just think it's a bad thing, because the younger generation are watching this kind of stuff. And they're thinking, oh, look at that heat. It's cool. Let's go and find a demon. Let's go and piss it off and see what it does. I've met people that have came to me, and they've said to me, I've got a demon. And I says, what do you mean you've got a demon? Oh, I've got a demon. So how do you know it's a demon? Oh, I've seen a shadow. Look, if you had a demon, you would know you had a demon. And this is what's wrong with all this fake stuff on YouTube, and not just YouTube, other platforms. It's damaging a lot of the real people like you and Dakota, and a lot of the other people that actually do ghost hunting. Yeah.
I mean, you have to remember too. I mean, the things that I have experienced when I was with when I was with the ghost hunting group I was with. There was a team of about 30 of us, and there was probably about 10 that were on our special response team. So if we were to get any cases in that were anything remotely leaning towards that, those were the people that went out and handled them. But 9 times out of 10, the person that's being affected in a home is not going to tell anybody they're the one being affected. You're not going to know who it is. They're not going to ask for help because they don't want help. They're not going to, not them, but whatever is affecting them is not going to say, hey, I have something going on over here, because they don't want to. It wants to stay. It wants to thrive. It wants to feed off of the negativity that's going on. I mean, that's how it survives. So it's not going to do anything to prevent that from happening. So, and it's the same way I think about when we used to have our group and people will come in and be like, oh, I want to be on the special response team. What? Nobody wants to do that. Who wants to do that? I know that the people that are in those types of and deal with those types of cases, it was just a calling for them. They were the ones that are supposed to be there. Nobody joins anything like that willingly.
I hope I'm getting back into the ghost hunting again, but because of this pandemic, it's taking a lot away. To try to get back into it and stuff. I hope I never encounter a demon. I pray to God that I never encounter one, because they're very rare. But Dakota here, he's a much better experience than me. What's your thoughts on this, Dakota?
I have to say, those of you who purposely try to look for demons are some of the biggest idiots out there.
Right.
And I'm saying this as someone who's done exorcisms, who's almost been killed a few times because of a case. I've had something ambush me in my own bed, lift me up by my neck, try choking me to death because I exorcised it out of someone and it did not like me. Mind you.
And you weren't letting it in.
Mind you, I'm 6'7" and almost 400 pounds, and this thing lifted me up like a rag doll.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, and they're out there, and you'll get, and it's deliberately designed for the younger person to watch. And it's like, oh yeah, you want to go and find a demon, you want to get the Ouija board, the spirit board out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You want to go into the graveyard, and I'm like, oh no. If you get an attachment, horrible. That's
right. But they don't know any better, right? Because they're watching what they see on TV, and they don't know any better. And then, and again, anybody that wants to do that is there's something wrong. There's something you don't know. Like my old boss used to bust my chops about it. He'd be like, you want to do the Ouija board at my house and we can summon up a demon? I'm like, all fun and games. All fun and games until some shit goes down in your house, and then you want I'm not doing it.
all it takes is to open the door, no close it.
Yeah, I'm like, shut up, dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't do that with me. No, stop asking me. Don't even include me in that sentence. I'm like, go somewhere else. And he was a doctor, so he was like, and I was like, I'm going on the ghost hunt. He's like, oh, is it one of those real mean? He didn't really know the terminology and stuff, but he was like, is it one of those ones with the horns? I'm like, no. He's like, oh, I don't want to go then. I'm like, I wasn't inviting you to go. He's like, I only want to go if it's something that's gonna what you see in on TV and stuff, the bad stuff. I'm like,
I'd be questioning that doctor if he's saying he only wants to go if something's horny.
That's it. Horny. That was funny. That took a second.
Oh my God! I just got that.
That was
great. See, honestly, the ghost hunting community has taken a big hit because there is a lot of people doing this out there. I've watched a lot of your videos, T, and I've watched a lot of Dakota's videos, and that's what I love about it. I like watching real ghost hunting. You know? But it's when they start, you can actually see the strings and that, and they're lifting the cups.
Oh my gosh,
and
I know.
I know. Yeah.
When I investigate, if I'm going to do, I just realized that I can go through StreamYard. I realized that when I did Kreischer Mansion. But from now on, I'm living if I can. If we have electricity and we have all that stuff, I'm going to go live the entire investigation.
Well, that would be good.
Which I did with Kreischer Mansion. It was 5.5 hours long.
Wow.
And I didn't stop. I'm showing how we're investigating. I'm showing the equipment people are using. I'm showing how they're using it. Whether it's right or wrong, it's still there. Nobody's faking anything that I'm with. Nobody's trying to fake anything. Nobody's, we're just investigating the way that we know, or they know how to investigate, or the equipment that they use. So.
Yeah. I've seen better evidence in ghost hunting from this community than I've seen in any of the top paranormal shows.
Yes, true.
Yeah. It was on the other week there, we had the Iron City Paranormal, and they caught some amazing thermal images. That blew me away.
Yeah, I would love to get a thermal. I'm not big. I'm not big on equipment.
Zach Bagans has got loads of money. You know, the networks are paying him. You know.
Yeah. He don't buy that equipment.
Yeah. I mean, this is, you know.
Yeah. I'm not big on equipment, so I use my recorder. I should use. I bring my camera, but I don't necessarily drag it out, only because I've learned that photography pictures are so hard to come by. So, I mean, if I have it recording, if I have it videotaping, bringing a camera to me is kind of, I have a full spectrum camera, which takes amazing pictures during the day and stuff like that. I love it. Yeah. But as far as using it for ghost hunting, I have thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment, when I first from when I first started, and I'm just literally giving stuff away because I don't use it.
You must admit the ghost hunting equipment is expensive.
It's expensive. It sure is.
Oh, yes.
And I really don't think, if something is made for ghost hunting, I
went to put that up at the same time as you, Dakota. There's a question for you there.
Yes.
What's your opinion on the paranormal apps?
Again, it's an app. It's something that's been made for ghost hunting. The only one that I'm trying to learn about a little bit is that necrophonic one. Because that just came to my attention about this app, necrophonic. But again, it is an app.
Yeah, I will admit I've used it a few times, but I would never use it in the house.
Yeah, because you can't rely. You can't, even if you get something, you can't put it in as evidence. Even if you think you have something from it, it's an app. So
I know that is the problem. There's a lot of channels out there that use ghost boxes, and there's one in particular, but I'm not going to mention him. But and he says he's speaking to Robbie Williams, he's speaking to Michael Jackson, and all that the day after they died and stuff like that, and you're like, they things can be programmed. That's what a lot of people don't realise. They can be programmed. But I will say that necrophonic app is good. What do you think?
I'm still testing it, and I'm still reading about it, because I don't know why, it just seems like I've heard, so the first time we used it in Gettysburg, the videos are on my YouTube. Again, the whole time we're using it, we're not sure, about it, but, my friend Matt was like, how many fingers am I holding up? 4. Then he's like, how many fingers am I holding up? 2. Mm-hmm. What color is my shirt? And it was blue at the time of year. Blue. Clear as day. So for me, I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? How is that thing answering how is it answering the questions?
Yeah.
It's strange. So there was a couple of things, and there was another video I had that's up on my YouTube. We were at the bridge, and I can't remember word for word, so I apologize, but it was something, some people call it Suicide Bridge, but it is, it's in Gettysburg. You walk past Sachs Bridge, and it's called the John Eisenhower Bridge, for real. And supposedly there was something, it's not that high, so nobody could commit suicide on that bridge, if they were, but anyway, my friend Matt was going towards the edge of it, and you hear the thing go, "Don't jump." It's just all the stuff happened with it that it's I don't know. I'm like, why is it being so in our business?
I've used it. I will admit that app is a wee bit spooky, because I went to a castle, and I turned to it when I went, where am I? And it went, castle. No. When I go to it, and it's like, how does it know you're there? I turned my phone on to flight mode.
Yeah.
So it's no using GPS. It's no using.
Well, from what I hear too, there's no oh my goodness. Word.
That's what is
there programmed word? I heard there's no pre-programmed words in it.
No.
it's literally just a bunch of sounds, and the second you start hearing full-on words, full-on sentences, that's what's supposed to be when you know you got something happening.
Yeah. And it was insane in Gettysburg. Like, it was just everything. And I'm like, there's got to be something with this. So that's been the only app really that I've, and I'm not saying that I vouch for it or if I say that it's legit, you know what I mean? Because it's still an app at the end of the day. So to me, it's like,
Do you use the K2?
No.
No, you don't use a K2 meter, no?
I have one. I don't use it.
You never use it, no? I always find it quite interesting because Dakota's is always like going off in the background when we talk about certain things, and it's always going off. I actually just ordered a new one because my one broke, but I find it quite an interesting thing because I've went to like maybe an old graveyard, right, and I've sat at the top of a gravestone and there's been nothing went off, and you walk away and it'll start flashing, and it makes you wonder what's making it flash. It makes you wonder, is it a signal that's maybe from a cell phone or something like that in the distance?
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, because I've been to locations where there's no electrical grid whatsoever. And you could walk around there in the daytime and there's nothing, but at night the thing will be staying in the green.
I'll tell you, I do. Yeah, I mean, I do like the tri-field meter. That's one thing that I do like, the tri-field meter. I also I have a train that's a little trigger prop.
Right.
I will use that. I can't, it's hard for me to connect with a spirit. So let's just say I'm in Gettysburg, because you're going to automatically assume it's going to be somebody from that time period but trains have been around forever. So, it's easier for me to say, can you go pick up that train or, touch that train? Then can you touch that little black thing with the silver thing sticking out of it? And, I'm not going to just walk up and touch something that I don't know what it is, so especially if I was living in a time period where I don't even know what electronics are or anything like that is.
Have you ever had EVP? What's the best EVP you've ever had?
Oh goodness. This is why I'm not a fan of doing ghost box stuff. Because like I said, I'm clairaudient, so I can hear disembodied voices, but EVPs are my most favorite thing to have. Yeah. And I do have a lot of class A EVPs. If you were to put it into a class, I have one EVP where I was at an inn. It's called the Inn at Lincoln Square. And it was just me and another person at the time. We had the whole entire inn. Now, when I say inn, there was 3 suites in the entire house.
Right.
So it was the bottom floor was one suite, the middle floor was one suite, the top floor is a suite.
Right.
There's also 2 townhomes that are attached behind, but it was all empty, and the owners were like, yeah, go ahead, have had it. Investigate all you want. We're like, great. Go in there. We're in our room. We're shutting the lights off. I'm putting stuff up. Lights are going off. And I heard something, and I said, what was that? And the person I was with said, what was what? And then on the recorder, now being clairaudient and not hearing her, I don't know how this works, but it sounded like there was another woman in the room with us. That's how loud her voice was. And she said, are you trying to sleep? Because we were shutting the lights off and da-da-da. We didn't hear it at the time. But she said, are you trying to sleep? Asked us, and we didn't hear it, obviously, at the time. But the fact that we're turning lights off and doing this and that to me, that makes it intelligent. Because we were in our room. It was and so that was awesome. And then the other time, near me is the Pine Barrens and, Batstow and Atzion and all this stuff. And we were at Atzion Cemetery, and that's back inside the Pine Barrens. And me and my sister and her boyfriend, and I got discombobulated for some reason all of a sudden. It got real dark. It got real dark, and I couldn't figure out what direction what was. So I asked my sister. I said, "Where's the car at?" Nobody answered me, and I said, "Where's the car at?" And she said, "It's over there." Well, I got a buzz in my ear, and she said that sounded like somebody fucking coughing. is what she said.
Right.
I listened back, and the first time I said, where's the car at? You hear, it's over here. That's where I came from. But I didn't hear an answer. So I ask again, where's the car at? And she said, it's over here. And then you hear me say, something buzzed in my ear. Well, actually, you hear this, you hear a noise like that. And I said, something just buzzed in my ear. And she said, that sounded like somebody coughing. When you hear it, it does sound like somebody coughing. So that's another one of my favorites because to me that was very crazy, everything that happened within the little 3-second part of my recorder. So
that is absolutely amazing. I do like EVPs. I must admit, I do like them. Dakota, would you like to ask a couple questions before the end of the show?
Yeah, sorry, it was like I heard that voice again, and I swear it's reacting to everything you say, Taryn. It was like, if anybody in the chat or in the podcast hears this, please.
Yeah.
We may be used to weird stuff happening on this show, but we still feel like we're going to end up in a straitjacket. Anyway. So, aside from... Oh. No. I just lost my question. Damn you, Chris.
On you go. See, this is the fun we have, Tim. This is the fun.
You have to have fun. You have to have fun.
We're laid back, but I'll let my co-host. On you go. You found it?
Yeah. So, kind of going back to people getting the wrong impressions when it comes to like television programs. Mm-hmm. What would be the biggest problem when it comes to the paranormal, in your opinion?
In the paranormal, honestly, there's people that are in this for the wrong reasons, and there's a lot of people that think, there's a competition out there. Somebody's got to be better than the next. The biggest problem is the people that fake stuff. That's the biggest problem. And then it just trickles down from there, because once you have people that believe in the people that fake stuff, they're going to defend the people that fake stuff, and the people that are saying this is wrong, and then everybody wants to be better than the next, and it just keeps on going and going and going, so it's the fakers, that just want to, and the shows, the shows are just, again, aside from Ghost Hunters, because I am a huge fan of Ghost Hunters. I am. But again, even them, they have to do some entertainment stuff. I'm sure that they don't, but they keep it as real as they can. When they investigate, to me, it's the closest to what we do. Except for we don't spend a week somewhere. They do. They're lucky. They get to. But,
Yeah, I would love to spend a week somewhere. Some investigators only get the night. And that's, you can
not
go
even.
and nothing
Sometimes you only get 5 hours.
Yeah. You could go there for 5 hours and nothing will happen.
I know.
I know. And that's what people don't understand. That's what a lot of people, I've bumped into people that watch the ghost hunting shows and they're like, oh, I never seen anything like that. People don't realise, let's take Ghost Adventures, for instance. It's an hour long, right? Mm-hmm. Right. The show's an hour long. You don't realise how long they're at that location. That's what people don't realise. They think they're just there for one night. But that one series that they're watching might be made up out of an entire week. Mm-hmm. And that's what they don't know.
I know. And then think about all the stuff they cut out and all the stuff they have to do. You know what I mean? It's when I was at one point when I was with the group I was with originally, at the time, Sci-Fi. It was either Sci-Fi, whatever channel Ghost Hunters was on at the time, and this was a while ago, so it was either Sci-Fi or Travel Channel. I feel like it might have been Travel Channel. I'm not sure.
I think it was the Travel.
Sci-Fi
one of them,
originally.
Yeah, so one of them came in they wanted to do a show because the director of my group actually owned a place called the Ghost Hunter Store, and that was in Mount Holly, New Jersey. And they came in and they were talking about doing a show about the store. And they told him to pick, 10 people to be on the show, blah, blah, blah. They did. They come out. Now we filmed a lot with them. not a show, but filmed like who we were, where we were from. Like, you know, you see those stupid things that happen before a show, before, like, the first time it's on. Like, hi, I'm Tara from New Jersey, and I've been in guest hunting for blah. You know, and everybody, like, yeah, stuff like that. Then we got to the store at one point, and we signed stuff and everything. And then another time they came out and they started to say, like, about the plot of the show. I, at the time, had a boyfriend. They wanted to bring my boyfriend in, you know, and they said that I would be cheating on him with somebody, not in real life, just for the show. I'd be cheating on him. We both worked at we both worked at the store, but I would be cheating on him with, like, the owner of the store or somebody that worked there, and this would be all behind his back. They wanted to do this plot, and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, really? I was like, so everybody's gonna think I'm this big huge slut, basically. I'm like, no. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it.
It's not the cringiest one I've ever heard. There was one casting call I actually got where they were wanting groups to do investigations in their birthday suits. I was like, first off, you clearly haven't paid attention to the people actually in the field. None of these people need to be naked.
Yeah, like, who are they going to get to do that?
Like,
oh my God, I just don't know.
Would be interesting, though.
Well,
I'm not going to lie, I probably would watch. I would watch, just to see.
Of course you would. Along with 98% of the women around the world.
I would be watching, just in case.
I know.
oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, you know, spring's here, and you'll be going ghost hunting soon. You'll be out catching those ghosties, as long as they're nice ghosties. Casper ghosties, you know?
Casper. Yes, Casper.
Yeah, Casper.
Hey, once in a while I'll deal with Slimer. You know, he was cool. He's pretty funny.
He's all right. You want to stay away from the kind of skulls and the red eyes and the big claws and stuff.
Yeah. I don't want any of that.
Yeah. So, I would like to thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Brew, T. You know, thank you for coming on, and you'll be able to find this on all the networks. And I'm not going to get Dakota to mention them all off again, the 50 locations where this is getting sent up to, you know, because Dakota just outdoes himself every time, you know. But anyway, guys, I would like to thank you all for coming tonight. And thank you again, Tim. And Dakota, would you like to play the new outro? We've got a new outro now.
Yeah, I'll play the outro. But like I said, here, Samuel proves my point. Everybody that we would want to come in comes in right as we're wrapping up.
I know. And please check out Paranormal Brew's channel and give it a
Paranormal Brew. I'm on YouTube and Facebook, Parapost Network, and BB3 TV, and Unrestricted Paranormal. And I think that's it.
And you're the links will all be below this live tonight.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Good night. I'll stop torturing you.
Eradication procedures have commenced. Warning. Demonic threat level 4. Exorcism imminent. Warning, demonic threat level 4.
to the skies and wondered if we are alone in this universe. Many miraculous things have been spotted all over the world, reported by our militaries, and sparked great debates amongst ourselves. I am here to tell you that, ladies and gentlemen, people of Earth, brothers and sisters of all races, all countries, that we have never been alone, that some higher power has destroyed.
My name is Frandsen. I am the special Silk Strange. You're seeing this broadcast. Did you know that evil son bitch is back and is looking to kill? Whatever you do, you listen to every word I have to say. Do not make your own assumptions about this thing, or it could be your last mistake. I'm not doing this to try to scare people. I'm doing this to try to warn you, try to give you everything you need to worry about. You have to listen. The situation in the world right now is causing this thing to come out and play, and he doesn't have more choice than ever. And quite frankly, the fact that you're listening to me talk right now puts you in danger. So if you don't think you can handle it, sign up right now. Or if you want to have a chance to play, do the best ones you love. If you experiencing the same amount of pain I have, you listen. And you listen good. The armies of darkness will not win.
No inside covered how to control the breathing. I'm actually pretty fit. Coward. Who knows I can take him on? So I want him to come out and face me directly. But the thing is, where Bald and Bonkers is still on the road, becoming an official LLC, the main author who brought this entity out into the limelight in the first place, somehow managed to trademark the term, as well as the term Shadowper. He claimed that he tried to prevent false information. If you think it hurt, if you possess this thing to kill, people have a nasty tendency of not paying attention or purposely getting things wrong. try to split the things into their own favor. So tonight we're going to discuss something in particular that I have a personal relationship with. Almost intimate. More intimate than most of it in my life. Trust me. Situations in the world right now are much more concerning. Oh, for those of you who might share, I'll link it in the description to the Ukraine fundraisers that it is in fact actually happening. And because there is a very real war going on, and yes, Putin is invading. Yes, I know about you. I know about your remark. It's situations like that that bring about it. Oh, and the Russians are trying to censor people that talk about this situation. Not even just in their own country, but all over the internet as well. So I expect this video to be targeted as well. So that's why we have these things on some of the locations, just to get something like that to happen. Because the Russian invasion of Ukraine is actually the latest incident that triggered this tool. It has a tendency to come out when there's times of crisis. Even mean son of a bitch. He has a bit of a sense of humor about his personality too. The name I utilized for my own record is called Lord of Shadows. Part of the Lord of Shadows series. Acronym. Yes. I utilized the acronym for Lord of Shadows theory to showcase the word long, to emphasize what I thought I knew about this thing. So, how do we get started? Well, who is the Lord of Shadows? The Lord of Shadows is an entity that manifests as a shadow thing. His appearance changes. Usually we're from report to report. But the most common in modern record is that of a tall man with a wide-brimmed hat, kind of like a fedora, a cowboy hat looking thing, a long trench coat. Sometimes it kind of looks like a three-piece suit. Now, every now and then, something changes. Sometimes he'll have glowing red eyes. Sometimes he'll have tall black eyes. Sometimes he's alone. Sometimes he's in a group. This isn't just an isolated incident. This thing has appeared all over the world. My dear friend AJ Booker used him on the Halloween special a while back as the professor. The professor was trying to get him back on for another interview for a while. He and I had another project so I tried to collaborate on. According to his research, he firmly believes that every persona of death you can think of, every version of the Grim Reaper, the god of death, can be traced back. Like I said, it kills people. If I seem to make them tense or I'm going to get emotional, trust me, this thing is personal. It hurts people I care about. Taking people from. Unfortunately, I'm very much a part of the war. Against the armies of death. country that became. How did it start? No one knows for sure. There's certain books about this entity that try to trace it back to the Zoroastrian version of the devil, which are not wrong based on my record. That also gives you an idea of how old this thing is, because Zoroastrianism is one of the oldest still practiced religions out today. And yes, there's going to be topics that are of religious themes. If that bothers you, turn off now. Go watch some Cute Puppy. Because, in order to provide as much information as possible, sometimes I gotta read up a religious text. This isn't dogma. This isn't me preaching how you should live, or this true, that's true. This isn't research findings. When it comes to these types of things, sometimes you have to take religion as a form of report. Because it may be the only thing that people have in their own personal knowledge to describe what's going on. To be the explanation of why so many people automatically come to the conclusion that extraterrestrials are demonic. Some are. But what lures this thing out? You may wonder. I wondered that too. At first, it seemed like it was just anybody who had gone through a severe emotional state. Mental trauma. Right around their teenage years. That seemed to be one of the most common factors. But then, why is it that not every hormonal, emotional teenager is seeing this way? Upon further research, I had discovered, and this is something that concerns me, the number of people who are purposely overdosing on Benadryl to try to see it. What? Yeah. If you actually pay attention to everything I say in this episode, you'll realize how stupid you are. Yeah, so people are apparently overdosing on drugs purposely to try to see it. Yeah. You're smart. But then again, why aren't everybody doing that? Well, I'll come to that point in a little later. For many years, I didn't really have much to go on with it. For many years, the earliest encounter I remember was when I was about 12 years old, 13, 14, somewhere around there. I had discovered, been told, that my father was being investigated for sexually assaulting me and my sister. Needless to say, I was pretty pissed off. I wanted to kill him. But you don't do that. There's probably some people like, oh, Dakota, you're expensive fake, you're such a liar. Get out. I don't want you around. You can either sit here, listen to what I have to say, or you can just go live on carefree, being the miserable little person you are that will always be forgotten into the endless abyss that is your life. And to listen to what I have to say, maybe get some help. Maybe be prepared. Maybe you decide to come forward. Because there is video documentation, and if certain individuals I have formed our associations with try to distort the evidence, I have it saved on my computer. Initially for my own personal records, and it'll stay that way. Oh, I should probably say the name of the organization. But I really shouldn't, because they prove themselves more of a liability. The former organization I met several people through. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some good times. I learned some new things. And I got to meet some best friends I've ever known. One of them was my co-host, who I gave the night off because he was having some mental issues that this particular subject may aggravate. And despite what he seems to think, we try to keep him around for a while. So, for the longest time, my record only showed that he was going after people in an emotional, turbulent time. Me finding out my father was a pedophile. As an example, several young girls who got sexually assaulted, who dealt with situations of abuse. It's one of the most common ones I came across. So, that was what I meant. And it makes sense. Darker entities tend to be attracted to those types of things. Sometimes even aggravate the situation even further. So the best course of action in order to take care of the problem was to address the mental issues that attracted it in the first place. You have to think of it a lot like dealing with a wild animal. Dealing with a wild animal that's sitting outside your house wanting to find a way in because it realizes you have a nice, big, juicy steak. And it really wants that steak. I'm trying to throw in some humor here. It's like the whole point of the show. Bring together the resources of several people that we're working on so we can become stronger together. Have a good time while we do it. Okay. Now, certain people. Now, going back to the reports of when the thing trial, most of the time, you just seem to be a watcher. People watcher. That's all he would do. He would stand in the corner. Stand at the foot of the bed, watch. Every now and then there would be an interaction. Usually feeling pain. That's not it. However, February of last year, Valentine's weekend of all weeks, there was an attack within a former organization I am no longer a part of. It was an investigation service that dealt with national security and law. That's the kind of thing to be in line with a lot of goals I had. And because of the information, can't get forward about this thing, initiated company-wide investigation. Try to understand this, try to find patterns. When it interfered, why did it interfere? Where did it interfere? Things like that. I tossed in my theory, which I'll explain here in a minute. Because some of you who are interested in taking on these kinds of cases may want to listen up because it will give you some tips on where to find leads when you feel like you don't know where else to go. Upon my own research, I started posting messages out on social media websites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, I believe, had a few, and Reddit. Trying to find stories to see if I can find more information, because I wanted to initially do a documentary on this place. Well, some people brought up their own story, personal experiences, but nothing substantial. However, there was an individual who that they weren't familiar with the Lord of Shadows, but based on the description of the wide-brimmed hat, long trench coats, and clothes, it reminded them of another entity from Breton mythology. Breton mythology is out of modern-day France, about a being known as Biancu. Biancu is basically the Breton version of the Grim Reaper. Sometimes he appears as a skeleton with a wide-brimmed hat and cloak. Sometimes he appears as a really old man. Interestingly enough, we go into some of the lore behind Biancu. It says there was likely more than one. Different regions may have their own version of it. It may be almost like a job in the afterlife. And that the last person to die within a certain cycle becomes Biancu. There's also another instance where some young men saw what looked like an old man with a wheelbarrow, started harassing it, and 2 out of 3, I believe it was, ended up getting so scared that their hair turned white, and they later died. We'll find that there. One of the other bits of origin lore behind the Biancu was that he was the firstborn son of Adam and Eve. Well. Wouldn't that be interesting? I believe that it's going to be cool. Because suppose you may not be the religious type. In Judeo-Christian text, there's slight variations of the myth, but as there will be. But typically, it is accepted that the firstborn son of Adam and Eve was a farmer known as Cain. And Cain is also something. Oh yeah, murdering his own brother. Something about that turned him into a servant of death, as some people tend to call it. However, you look at the king of the let's go down this little rabbit hole here. One of the myths behind Cain was that Adam was not his father. But the biological father of Cain was none other than the serpent in the Garden of Eden. Yes, the very same serpent that coaxed Adam and Eve into machine knowledge and got them banished out of the Garden of Eden. Yeah, it turns out the forbidden fruit may have been a euphemism, or the fact of snakes, rather. So people are like, so was Lucifer? Definitely makes the Tom Ellis Netflix show seem a little bit more interesting now, doesn't it? Here's the thing, though. Lucifer, as we know today, is an amalgamation of several different views. The original Lucifer, if you will, had nothing to do with the garden. Nothing. Not even as powerful as people make it seem. But he's the devil. No, he's a fallen angel, yes. He's not necessarily the devil. You see, the serpent in the Garden of Eden was Satan, yes? But here's the thing. When you actually look at the context of the word Satan, it means opposer, opponent. Right? Okay. And it was a verb. It's going to use as a verb. The only time it was ever used as a noun in the original text, it would say something wrong like this. Ha-ta-tan. There was only one being that was ever mentioned by name in the Bible. And that was Archangel of Death, Samael. What? Aren't Samael and Lucifer the same? No! They kind of got melted together over time because people didn't want to do their homework. People didn't pay attention. But they're all evil! It's not as black and white. Oh, boy. So, the real identity of the serpent in the Garden of Eden was revealed by Samael, who then ended up marrying Adam, or a being that some speculate to be Adam's first wife, Lilith. And there's also a nice little myth about God castrating Samael in order to prevent him and Lilith from procreating even more to produce more demons. Now, is that legit? No. That's a nice little tale in that little tale. And it kind of jumps into ancient aliens. Well, where did I put that? Now, some of you may be familiar with the KGB book of alien races. You can find a copy of it on like Amazon Kindle. There might be a link in the description. But you can also be able to find it free on some website. And it's an alleged secret document that was uncovered describing alien races that have been in contact with planet Earth. And if you look into a section about the Anunnaki, oh, that's a popular topic, isn't it? A few familiar names about describing, at the time, Anunnaki world. Samael and Lilith. What's the big deal about the Anunnaki, some of you may be wondering? Well, it is said that the Anunnaki actually came to Earth from the planet Nibiru. We're going to pick that apart a little bit later. They came to Earth in search of gold, genetically altered what they thought was the dominant species on this planet in order to create a slave race. They used the slave race to harvest the gold so they can take it back, utilize it for their own purposes, because something about the gold was supposed to help their atmosphere. And that's part of the occult theory about why you see so many UFOs around popular gold mining sites in ancient cultures. The site for the real site for the lake where they believe the real El Dorado lies is actually, as an example, it's actually well known for UFO sightings coming out of the water. Maybe there's some part. Right. So Samael and Lilith were supposed to be Anunnaki king and queen. Okay. Alright. So if this isn't a case of namesake, it happen to be named the same thing, that means that some of the beings we know as the angels and archangels may actually be aliens. There's another interesting little bit. I'm going to pull out a couple books here. There's one, A Gift from the Stars, Extraterrestrial Contact and Guide of Alien Races by Elena Danaan. You've seen her on this show. What did it come on? She actually goes into a little bit more about the Anunnaki in her book, She's a Fellow Contactee, where it is said, and there's a big conspiracy around this, that people who have type O negative blood are Anunnaki descendants. This is actually one of the conspiracies that O negative should not exist. It had to come from somewhere else. Maybe this can be a mutation. I don't know. Who knows? It's kind of hard to prove. Excuse me. With 100% validation. But according to Miss Danaan's book, and again, there should be links in the description to be able to buy all these books I recommend. It is said that when the Anunnaki arrived, they tried to implement their own blood type in order to make the civilization that grows from this planet more compatible with galactic civilization. Now, O negative, as we all know, is a popular blood type due to the fact that it is universal. Anybody who has O negative type blood can donate their blood to anybody in need. It can be used in any body without rejection. And it is also said in her book that, and this is something I'm trying to explore a little bit further, it seems like there might be some basis to it, but there's not a lot of data to go off of, that people who have O negative blood tend to be more spiritually inclined, they have natural psychic gifts, and more likely to be abducted by aliens. Right. Now, the other bit you have to be careful with when it comes to the Bureau itself. Obviously, people say, oh, it's a hidden planet X that lies within another dimension and it's going to be on its way and it's going to be harmed again. Stop that shit. Stop it. Stop it! If you actually, according to a lot of Sumerian scholars, the Brew actually translates to Jupiter. It's allegedly another alien outpost. But seriously, go find Elena's book. It is a very interesting read, and go find her other books as well. If you want a little bit more information, I'll put a link to this one in the description as well. Check out the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac by Craig Campbell-Bassel. Yes, the same guy that I mentioned earlier. The Ultimate Guide of Greys, Reptilians, Hybrids, and Nordics. It builds onto it a lot more. You know, Elena's book does. Both are incredible people. I have the privilege of calling them my friends now, so both awesome people. Do check them out. Hey, Cody, you're getting kind of off topic. No, I'm not. So, just kind of trace back the Lord of Shadows, who attacked people, harassed them, possibly even altered circumstances in one's life to trigger death, attacked me and my former colleague. And now, all of a sudden, I have information up to me, and maybe, well, there's something else to it. A couple weeks after the pandemic started, I got a phone call from my personal spotlight from a client out of North Carolina who was so scared of activity going on in his house that he and his family were moving across the country. He had his wife send me the plane tickets to validate it. So, this was an interesting case. Because after this was shortly after I just started exploring the Hat-Man being Kane. That's a name. Alright. Hat-Man, come get me! Taking shit, little bitch. The Hat-Man, Lord of Shadows. Kane. shortly after I started exploring that theory, I had a client call me. He was saying that his family were getting so freaked about what was going on. He was getting scratched up. There was a particular room in his house his wife referred to as the bedroom because there was such a feel of dread in there that you physically got sick. The animals would act up. Oh, and as the guy would call me, he just found the notes on it. Let me see. And the fact that he was running out of options because so many people turned him down, he happened to know that the activity seemed to affect the men more than women for some odd reason. And as he was talking with me, there was a secondary voice that came from the phone. Now, he was the only one in the house. So unless the dog or the cat happened to figure out how to stay there, there's something more to here. Which is disembodied voice of what's kind of like a small child age. So it's kind of like age from 4 to maybe 7-year-old, somewhere in there. And, well, I have it written here because, well, I don't know. I don't necessarily need it written, but I have it written here for accuracy, so I'll never forget this. But it sounded like this child said, it is meanest voice you could, but you hang up that phone or I'll fucking kill you, bitch. Small child said this. To which I had to stop this individual. He's like, wow, what's going on? It's like, are you sure you're alone in the house outright? Like, yeah, what? I just heard a small child. He goes and asks me, about, what did it say? I said, well, he told you to hang up this phone or it's going to kill you. I was like, you said it was a small child. How old would you think it was? I told him, I'd say about 4, 5, 6 years old. There was a pause at the end of the voice. And, he looked at me and said, well, about 6, 7 years ago, my wife had a miscarriage. And it was a baby boy. It was a boy's voice. I heard him say that on the woman. And then finally I asked him, because he mentioned that this entity was trying to get friendly with him. Anytime someone would try to suggest ways in order to get rid of them, he would attack that person. Not the father of the household that was calling him. He would attack whoever was trying to say, you need to get this thing out of here. They say, no, he's mine. Well, they would go to talk. They would chat like they were old friends with no personal details. And he said he wanted the father, Lord of Shadows wanted the father to be like a general in his army. And now obviously, if you're going to recruit someone, chances are you're going to have to share your real name, right? You don't want to use a false name, otherwise that might cause suspicion to anybody who actually smartens up. Yeah, that was a reference to past events. But yeah, the father goes, yeah. I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was like pain, sugar. Listen, if he hears the pause in my voice, he's like, why? What does that mean? Not a religious guy, so I told him my theory. The dude was practically shitting himself. He was that scared. Because the son of Satan himself was after him and his 3-year-old boy. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. The reason why he was reaching out was because his 3-year-old son was being the focus of the activity. And so I had concern going about the angles where I was like, oh, there was a situation where he may be going people with like dispositions or anything. Like, yeah, they're all listening to tell things that happen before they will tell you why. It's like, okay, have you ever used any drugs in your lifetime? Like, no, never. He was afraid that I was probably going to call child protective services on me. I just need to know so I know what to tell you. Very easy. He's like, what do you mean? Like, well, has your boy ever started acting like he's seeing things he shouldn't? Suddenly know things? And like, yeah, all the time. Why? I thought he was just one of those weird kids. Okay. Well, these types of things can be genetic, so nothing your fault. And chances are, there's a pretty good chance he might. Chances, yeah. There's a pretty good chance that he might actually grow out of it. But there's also a chance that he may have a head injury. It's like, what do you mean? Well, sometimes psychic abilities pop up because of a blow to the head. But, no, I don't hit my kids. No. Clearly, the man was distraught about something. I was like, sir, I need you to calm down. I'm not saying you're going to hit your kid. All I'm saying is that it could legitimately be, knock on wood, it could be a legitimate accident. Something that was out of everybody's control. It was like head injury, use of certain drugs, / mental illness, and physical injury, genetics, and some sort of trauma. That kind of group of head trauma and drug use. It was like, and to be completely honest with you, my friend, I had all three. Your boy has a chance to do some really awesome things if his ability fits. You kind of think of it, you got a kid with superpowers. He was kind of a nerd, so he was familiar with the reference. We eventually got him down. I was able to administer a sigil of my design for another case I worked in the activity Sao Paulo. Through the same social media pages I mentioned earlier, another woman came about concerned that her young child was being targeted by this man. I mentioned, she was asking if I was still looking for information, and I said, well, I just put out a podcast on what I had so far. This discussed the theory that he was actually gay. He's like, I really need to hear that podcast. Can you send me a link? I tried talking to her one-on-one. It's like, ma'am, is there a way I can help you through this now? It's like, no, she was so adamant about wanting to hear this podcast. Which was weird, but I followed it. Then she's getting back to me saying, I named my son after him, thinking that it was a smart name, a strong name. Yeah, so, criteria just got expanded to small kids as well, because there was other people who came about saying that this thing attacked their kids, age 2, 3, right as abilities would start to really manifest. Or at least when a child was old enough to start being able to say what the hell they were doing, talk about it. Another incident that came forward to me was a former colleague where she disclosed that there was a house she lived in, I think he was 14 years old, where he was attacked by this physically pushed around. And she floors up and down that she felt safe. The same person was involved in the previous attack that got and was distraught to the point that between that and personal issues in her life, she had to be institutionalized. As far as I know, she's doing okay now. Needless to say. Me personally, I've dealt with this thing before. Like I said, it started showing up about the same time I was dealing with my father. Those of you who have been following me for a while can understand that with a lot of recent information that's come forward, I've had to backtrack a lot of personal experiences, which I was able to realize that I saw what happened when I was about 2 years old. There was an incident where I almost ended up taking someone's life at the age of 3. My stepmother stabbed me in the back of the neck because she was frustrated with Oppo, who called on her and my father. So she tried stabbing me in the back of the neck with a ballpoint pen. I cringed just right to catch it, knocked it out of her hand, and screamed, "What the fuck are you doing? Ow, 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 that hurt, that hurt." She drags me into the kitchen, slapped my hand, slapped the 6-inch butcher knife, and slapped the 6-inch butcher knife in my hand, saying, "Come on, you want to fight back? Now do it, do it, do it." I ended up stabbing her in the stomach. By the time I was 19, I was actually engaged to be married. But I ended up losing my fiance. She was murdered by the ex she was trying to get away from. Her sister managed to track me down a couple of years later and told me about some journals that my fiance wrote. A lot of it was, the reason why she wanted to track me down was that apparently that she wrote very highly of me in her journal. She also mentioned that for weeks before then she was nervous about a black shadow with a cowboy hat that seemed to be following her. Another trait that we haven't had. These thoughts is victims, especially. Maybe take one off from the particular Brian. I'm trying to bounce through in order to keep it somewhat under an hour. There's so much here. But needless to say, this thing has been a part of my life for some time. And if you look at some old footage that, if any of you watching this program or listening to this on the podcast channel I want to hear, I'd be more than happy to share. But it should be known that because I've dealt with this for a while, I'm starting developing ways to combat it. One idea was to kind of figure out how to embed protection symbols into a song. The idea came to me through the newer Doom games, actually, where I discovered that the main composer actually hid images in the songs he wrote for the game. There was also the protection sigil that I mentioned earlier from a case I worked that was out of the Philadelphia area that apparently even attracted to the attention of Anne Lorraine Warren at some point. I was able to validate that as well. This sigil I call the Walls of Eden. What it does is essentially calls upon several angels of protection and healing in order to establish protective barriers. There's also the flower of life on the inside, a spiritual summoning in the sigil of Solomon, as well as a few other chants in Enochia. That's the language of the angels. By the time you see this podcast, there's going to be added merchandise. You'll find the link below. Maybe you can get this sigil, or you can screen grab it right now. You can keep that on your person, you can print it out, you can save it as a background on your phone. I don't care, it works either way. This will help build protection barriers around you. There's also the protection meditation that I have. There's going to be a link for it in the description as well. You can find the full recording of it here on many of the Bald and Bonkers official YouTube channels, as well as my own video channel. You can find a guided meditation version of it on a lot of music distribution websites, Spotify, iTunes, Google Music, all the major ones like that. We'll release the unguided version, so to speak, very soon as well. These all will help develop the barriers if you believe this thing is after you or stalking you. You can use banishment, you can use prayer to attract it away. But please, if you do think you're being seen by this, let me know. Because if it absolutely will not leave you alone, that sigil will help me be able to get to you in ways that not a lot of other people can do. It'll also protect you. You might have just see others come through. Like my daughter. Yeah. After the attacks last year, my daughter started showing up to more people. I also learned that this thing also does not work alone. I had to make a deal with it. In a way that he could torture people without lifting a finger, let their own psyches cause much the pain, bring him more power in order to get him to draw back from certain people to buy time. And now he's back and looking for vengeance. But little does he know I'm a little bit prepared this time around. So I do want to say again, let me show that sigil. If you think you see this thing, please reach out. I'll do my best to help you. And I'm going to end that there for now. Because this broadcast needs to be put out as soon as possible. More information on the Lord of Shadows will be released very soon. Stay safe. Another interesting piece will be showing up this Saturday, March 19th. Mikey Naked Bigfoot, who was also a factor in all this. You know, the trances that surrounded the thing, as well as had the voice come through from his end that he believed were associated with Sasquatch that attacked his property. And they called me out by name. I don't know what's going on. I've already lost enough people. But just know for damn sure that I will not give up fighting. Even if it kills me.